Hi everyone, welcome to day 19 of RevenueCat Ship-a-ton challenge. Today I took the whole time to redesign the UI, and I'm glad that even though it wasn't a big day in terms of working, I took a lot of rest and I also had a nap during the evening, so I'm much more well rested compared to the past 3 days where I was hustling and working a lot. Like I mentioned it before about the unhealthy obsession to this app, so that's something I'm like trying to balance out, and things have been great. So moving forward, if you can look at the screen, what I had on the left versus what I have on the right, you can see that in just one iteration, the whole app has changed, and it looks like a lot of effort went into this. So even if it looks like it's just a redesign, like do not have the functionality working for each of the buttons right now, and I plan to take it slowly while refactoring the code because the code has become a huge bundle of mess. I think it's okay to admit that. And today is August of 25th. My plan is to start working on the paywall today itself, which is Sunday midnight right now. And in the meanwhile, I will reach out to press, talk to more people, go to Reddit and communities. I also found the subreddit graphic_design and another one for design where I will start posting my app, the test flight link, and get the feedback from them. So today I will just talk about the major changes I have made in the app and how I went about my thought process behind it. So to give a recap, I have said it earlier, quickly create your beautiful mesh gradients. This is the motto of the app and something I want to stood by. And that's how I went about the redesign. You create something beautiful, click on the save button and have it in your photos, or send it to someone on iMessage, or share it directly, or maybe have it as a wallpaper. These are the four major options under save, and everything else is secondary. So on the left side, every time I opened the app, it was the same mesh gradient. Now what I did was I had a bunch of colors, default colors for the mesh gradient. Now it randomizes it, so it opens a kind of a new gradient every time. So it's a fresh breath of fresh air. So that's one change I made on the screen. Second, I got rid of the whole navigation bar. I did not like it. The copy to code can go under somewhere else, the photos and settings as well. And on top of that, I added a meshing headline for the app. I'm still not sure if it is necessary. I can move the whole gradient up a bit so that it's much larger, and I think I will do that. But the main idea of this meshing is that whenever you make any change, you see how the gradient will look like on a text itself, so you do not have to open a new text editor menu for that. So that's one quick win in my opinion. Secondly, I will have more options for the gradient itself, which will be so it will not be a 1:1 anymore. There will be more options, so you start with a much bigger gradient, and then in the layout section you can change that. So we'll go one by one for each of the options. The first one is layout. It will contain what I had before, which is the grid sizes 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, and 5 by 5. Instead, I will use the same layout, and for the ratio I will use the same what's this called? It's a picker? I think it's a picker. I forgot the name. And then have the option for control points. So what you see on the left, so when I click on the layout button, it will open a custom sheet with a haptic feedback, and that sheet will have a bit of animation to it, like a bouncy animation. And right now it does not have that. It's the normal one. I don't want my app to be normal. I want it to have this playful animation that I have, similar to what I have on the onboarding. So click on layout, it will open something similar to what I have on the left. Then when I click on create, it will give me options. That first one will be create using meshing AI. Second will be create using the templates. Then create using images, and create using artwork. Artwork is like if you use Apple Music, then you can have the artwork from the image itself, which is very cool. And oh, the fifth option that I worked so hard on yesterday, create from your camera. Then the third option is appearance. You will have specific toggles for the blur, the animation. So I have animation as a separate one. Let's see if I can move it up there, but right now the idea is appearance will have blur, noise effect, yes. And there was another thing that just went out of, where's my phone? Oh, my phone will have the older version. But anyway, so these were the few details. I should have a wireframe. Oh yes, I should. Appearance will have the wireframe mode. For animation, there will be more subtle animations options. That I think I'm working on something similar for the noise. So in the morning, I created this noise app, which is a prototype that I was working on. So if I go to meshing prototypes and try to run it in the simulator, it will take some time. So the idea is that I'll just show you the code so you have a better understanding. Where is it? Yes, this one. So it has this parameterized noise. The idea is that I have this Aurora Borealis gradient view, and as the gradient view you have the mesh gradient, and on top of that you can change the intensity, the frequency of the noise, and the opacity of the noise. So instead of just having a simple gradient, I can move around this sliders a bit. Like if I try it, let me just use the play button here. Okay, this is nice. I'll just move it a bit so you can see it better. So when I change the intensity, you see how it's changing. And let's just have it at 0.1, then change the frequency, which gives it a more dense, and this one is not dense at all. If I zoom in and show you, you can see this is the film look. Oh my god, I didn't know it looks so beautiful. I love my app so much. And with the opacity, you have this more opacity, as the name suggests. But this frequency, let me try and play with the intensity as well. Oh, it gets much darker. So it's a 0.5 with this one. That's the idea, like users can play with it, play and explore. Yep. So beautiful. Anyway, I got distracted. So mask option will have the same text editor that I had in the app before, and the SF symbol one, and putting it on button. I had another feature that I worked on, which was like viewing the favorites, which I think should go under create as well, but create has then more options as well, and I do not want to overwhelm the users with 6 more grids. So that's something I have to think from a user experience point of view. The best part of working on meshing app is I'm learning so much about a user experience and UI design that I did not do before. Even though I have worked on multiple apps, I would usually work with designers and they would just give me the Figma file and I would just copy the design into Swift UI. So I'm loving this change, going to like having a designer hat. Under settings, it will have the normal settings, but I'm thinking of putting more subtle settings, like do you want to have the default layout as 3x3 or 2x2? I'm thinking of starting with 3x3 again. There's some bug in the code, that's why I had to move it to 2x2 when it resets to default. And so subtle options everywhere. And then for the save button will open a full sheet, show you a preview of the grid and all the export options that I had with the custom dimensions. What I think would be great would be like to see visually of how each of the sizes will look, a small preview. So that's, and the export options will not be in your face. The export options will be more on the major use cases, like have the whole big button, wallpaper, post save to photos, and save, like a save share button that uses normal share view. And the fourth one, I forgot again, iMessage, because I am assuming a lot of designers use iMessage. And with that, I think the redesign looks really beautiful. Like if I look at the design on the left, I don't think it feels like a baby app, but the one I have on the right, when I add the custom fonts, this will look like a professional photo editing app, and that's the idea that I want to take. Like I have taken inspiration from this app called as Photo Room, which is a very famous AI editing app, and the layout is something similar, and I felt like it's a good idea, like the layout from this Photo Room app and for the learnings I got from the Bazaar app UI. These I don't know, like I just never thought I could have something like this when I started working on the app and the UI that you see on the left. And the best part of being a designer, not a designer, like when I look at an app right now, I cannot tell what the code would be of it, but when I look at the app, I can say this is how the design looks, or this is how the animation looks, and this is how I can code it. And that's powerful. Like I can steal a word, like great artists steal that quote, unquote, that if I like a animation really well, I know I can just copy it and use it in my app. It's not that it's patented. So this is very important when I'm looking through the apps which are Apple award winners. So the end goal is to create a beautiful, delightful experience of working with mesh gradients in the quickest way possible. And if I'm creating a design tool, it should look like it is created by a designer and not a developer. I do not know why I have that mindset, but I want that. Like, I do not want people to say, wow, like, oh, Rutrang, the developer created this app. They should say, Rutrang, the designer did it, even though I'm not, and I'm very bad at design. So I should get rid of this notion I'm very bad at design. If I was really bad at design, I wouldn't have come up with what I have on the right one. So, yeah, this... yeah. And with that, as I mentioned, today, the Sunday, is a paywall day. A little bit of code refactoring, like incremental approaches. Think of each of this layout or the create options as a module in itself, and then I go module by module, and that would really help me have a good grasp on what I can expect when I work on the press kit, like using Impress Kit. I have heard a lot about this website called as Impress Kit to create your press kit, and my copy for the App Store description. So a lot of work is still pending, but I feel like I have done well to wrap up the whole project, at least most of the project, in time. So I'm very proud of myself. And with that, I will see you tomorrow.